do. Don't raise income or sales taxes. Let's get more for the money we're already spending. He says, oh, he's going to save $600 million. He calls it cutting funding when you save money. I thought the goal was to provide the best public service possible for the lowest cost. Then you take that $600 million you save and you spread it out amongst all school districts so they don't need so much property tax money from people. They could lower property tax bills because you found ways that they can provide better services while spending less money. It's the same thing when I want to decrease classroom overcrowding in our urban areas, not by bonding for $7 billion, but by filling 40,000 empty seats in private schools that are there today, and you could get the decrease going for less money.
Excuse me, Mr. Schundler, I believe his question was, do you support a convention, a constitutional convention? Mr. McGreevey said that he did not oppose it. I don't know if that's the same as support it. You didn't actually
what is the purpose of the convention is to talk about raising income or sales taxes.
It's about changing the Constitution.
About changing the Constitution.
Well, the bottom line is I have said no. Because when you talk about, maybe I'm a little ahead of the specific question, but I know where the question comes from. There are those who are proposing that we have a constitutional convention so that you can eliminate property taxation as a funding source for our schools. And the proposal is that you increase sales and income taxes to cover it. Now, if we had to do that, we would have to increase income taxes up to 9.6%. It would give us the highest income taxes in the state of New Jersey. You'd drive jobs out. You'd drive high-income individuals out. And with our progressive income tax structure, it's high-income people who pay most of those taxes. That would just shift the burden onto middle-class homeowners.
So you're against a constitutional convention?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they followed that. You followed that, right?
I think, and all of New Jersey needs to understand this. Problem with Mr. Schundler's proposal is that he wants to take $600 million out of the system. You take $600 million of the system, you're going to destroy the quality of public education. Why do people move into a particular community? Because they want the quality of their schools to be good, to be sound. Look what happened in Jersey City. During the course from 1992 to today, property values for the average resident went down by $6,000.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
And let me also say, and everybody needs to understand this, in the past 3 years, all of New Jersey contributed over $1 billion to the school district and the city of Jersey City. Mr. Schundler declared his city a distressed city. Literally 1 out of every $52 the state collects went to bail out Jersey City.
That will have to be the last word on that subject. Let's return to Monmouth University. We will return to Monmouth University, where Charlie Argentero of Keyport is next, and his question is addressed to Mr. Schundler.
Good evening. How soon do you plan to eliminate the parkway tolls? And if you don't have a time frame, why not?
I will do it by October of next year. Connecticut did it on the Connecticut Turnpike in 6 months. All it takes is the desire and the decision that it's going to be done. Now, the state in the average year, after it pays for inflation on its current programs, has had in the last 5 years about $1.3 billion left over. And the state has to make a decision. What do we do with that money? Do we create new programs, so much so that we spend every last dollar on new programs, or do we use some of it for tax reduction? The state has used a fair amount of it in the last so many years for tax reduction, because the Republicans have cut tax after tax after tax that the Democrats increased. But we don't need to keep the toll tax as the one we don't cut. Let's get rid of that one first, because not only do we get to give you money back, but we'll give you a nicer road to drive. Usually when you get a tax cut, all you get is a tax cut. Here you'll have the opportunity to spend more time with your family, more time at work. You'll have the opportunity not to have so much road rage. Gee, I think that would add peace on earth and goodwill toward men. It's almost spiritual.
Mr. McGreevey.
If it weren't so sad, it'd be funny, Bret.
There's no sense of humor.
No, I don't have a sense of humor when it comes to not being straight with New Jersey. I believe the reality is that Mr. Schundler can't take down the tolls by October, neither can I. The difference, Charlie, is I'm telling you. The reality is that there's $600 million worth of debt. Also, revenues for the Parkway is $200 million a year. The acting governor set forth a thoughtful proposal of 10 years. 10 years is too long. I believe we can do it significantly less, about 7 years, but that's cutting costs, merging the Turnpike, the Parkway, the Atlantic City Expressway. Mr. Schundler says Connecticut did it in 6 months. Check the facts. The reality is that Connecticut took 3 years to take down the tolls and 2 years to stop charging the tolls. And the other point is they tripled the gasoline tax. It went from 13 cents to 39 cents. And in addition, they didn't have any debt. We have $600 million of debt. You need a governor.
That's your time.
Who's going to be honest
sorry.
with you.
Eric Scott, did you have a follow-up?
Can you clarify your timeline? I'll add first to Mr. McGreevey. You've said 7 years. I believe that's the first time I've heard that. When you're talking about 7 years, are you talking about just the Parkway tolls, or are you now talking about all of the tolls after you combine the roads?
Don't get carried away, Eric.
It's one of our pet issues.
No. I want to be very, very clear. It's going to take 7 years focusing on the Parkway. I think what's important is that we have a governor who's going to be honest with us. When you talk about Connecticut, Connecticut had paid off their debt. We have a $600 million worth of debt, $200 million worth of lost revenues. The reality is what happened in Connecticut, it took 2 years from the time Governor O'Neill signed the bill to stop charging the tolls. Mr. Schundler keeps saying 6 months. It's just not true. It's not accurate. And it took 3 years to physically take down the barriers. The truth is, you couldn't pay off $600 million of debt. You couldn't afford to lose $200 million worth of revenues. You couldn't even get the permits within 9 months.
Mr.
I'm telling it to you straight.
Folks, you shouldn't vote for someone who doesn't...
Please continue.
No, I'm away. Folks, he's saying it took 2 years. It took 6 months to take the tolls off the thruway, and then 2 years later, they took it off the Merritt Parkway. Now, I'm saying we're just going to take it off the Parkway. I'm not going to try to take it off the Turnpike and everything else all at once. But he's just not being truthful with you. And the bottom line is then he says, well, they got the, how are you going to pay for that? He says 7 years.
It's an old
nonsense. Nonsense. You have $1.3 billion left over after you cover the costs of inflation. And that money, you have to make a decision what you're going to do with. It would take just 10% of that money to get rid of the Parkway tolls. Why can't we give these people a toll tax cut? For a cost of $130 million to the Treasury, I can give you back that $200 million because you save the collection costs. That is the most expensive tax we have. 30% of the money collected goes for nothing more than the collection costs. That's why it's another good reason to cut this tax first, because I can give you the biggest bang for the buck.
On that topic, gentlemen, thank you very much. Let me remind you that we have about 5 minutes left in our program, so we'll try to get a few more questions in. Gentlemen, you've been doing a great job of adhering to the rules, and I thank you for that. Let's go to our Union, New Jersey studio. Joe Serralo of Pine Brook has a question. This one will be addressed first to Mr. McGreevey.
Gentlemen, how are you going to solve the auto insurance crisis in New Jersey now that several large insurance companies have indicated that they are losing money and are leaving the state?
Joe, it's tough to solve the auto insurance problem in 60 seconds. The point is this. The reason why auto insurance companies are leaving the state is they are legitimately frustrated with the state. The truth today in New Jersey is that good drivers are paying for bad drivers, good drivers are paying for uninsured drivers, and good drivers are paying for fraud. My frustration is we have 600,000 uninsured motorists driving all over the state of New Jersey, and they need to say thank you to you. My point is this. If you're driving an uninsured car and can't produce an auto insurance certificate in 24 hours, that car gets impounded. On fraud, we need to prosecute fraud. And I also believe we need a public advocate to represent drivers. Mr. Schundler's approach is completely different. He says insurance companies should keep excess profits. Well, that's why they're called excess profits. They shouldn't keep them. He's asking drivers to give up the right of coverage, the right to sue in cases of crippling or dismemberment.
Mr. Schundler,
I believe that's wrong.
Your opportunity is now.
Thanks. I like most of Jim's proposals. In fact, I support them. In fact, so does the current administration, because most of these proposals are already in place. They're not bad proposals. They're just not solving the problem. They're tinkering at the edges. Now, one of the things we have to do is we have to talk with firms like Geico, and we have to talk with firms that are planning on leaving and say, what do we have to change about our regulatory structure to keep you here? He doesn't ever want to talk about decreasing regulation because he believes the more government regulates business, the better. But that's not true. You want to have regulation that keeps environment sound and attractive for business, so you have more competition, and competition lowers rates. I haven't talked about, not having people be insured. I want to make sure that you're insured, and if you have an accident, you can get your health bills covered, any losses you have, and that you have liability coverage that helps cover anybody who you hurt. But you shouldn't have to have pain and suffering You shouldn't have to pay for the right to sue for pain and suffering. That's not about insurance. That's about penalizing somebody. And if you're going to take money by penalizing somebody, you're going to have to put more money in the system. That increases premiums by 30%.
I'm asking my colleagues to ask a follow-up question, and you will have 30 seconds each to answer it.
Very simple. Why is auto insurance required in New Jersey while health, dental, and life insurance is not?
Mr. McGreevey.
Well, I think it makes sense. And I think provided that we're going to have auto insurance, the reason why I believe my approach works, Mr. Schundler doesn't, is because if we require people to have auto insurance, we have to make sure that every uninsured person is insured. And the reality is that we haven't had that happen. Mr. Schundler's point is say, all right, allow the insurance companies to set rates.
I'm sorry, that's all the time we have. I know it's 30 seconds. Mr. Schundler.
It's because you have to have liability coverage. If you injure someone, you have to have the insurance available to make sure that they can be made whole, to get their bills covered and any time lost at work covered. Again, what I want to make it is that if you are willing to waive your right to sue for pain and suffering, which isn't about covering losses, it's about getting extra penalty dollars out of someone. If you're willing to waive that, and that reduces your premium by 30%, you should have that right to choose whether you want to waive it or not and be able to save the money.
Is going to be our last word for the evening. Gentlemen, I'd like to thank you very much for being with us. Bret Schundler, the Republican candidate for governor, and Jim McGreevey, the Democratic candidate. And we thank you for being with us. Our thanks as well to Gannett, New Jersey newspapers and 101.5 radio. And of course, stay with us here on CN8. A special edition of It's Your Call is coming up right after this. I'm Lynn Doyle saying thank you, and remember to vote on November 6th.
CN8, powered by Comcast. Now, live from the Comcast network, you're watching CN8 News.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Connie Cola.
I'm Arthur Fennell, and we thank you for joining us for a CN8 News update. The New Jersey gubernatorial election is just a little over 2 weeks away now.
And tonight, the two top contenders squared off right here on CN8, as you saw just moments ago. CN8's Al Ganoza was at the event and files this report.
Tonight's encounter occurs in South Jersey, where residents can ask these two North Jerseyans about the other half. On Tuesday night's debate, a South Jersey resident asks what these men would do for this region.
I believe that South Jersey has been shortchanged in certain areas, and part of it is particularly in transportation infrastructure.
Among other things, I want to finish Route 55. That'll take some time, but I think it's worth doing. We want to do some necessary dredging to keep the port in good shape.
The last debate was very contentious. This encounter figures to be so as well. The candidates even continued their barrage at one another Tuesday night outside of the debate.
Mr. Schundler has previously stated that if a bill landed on his desk, he would sign it, permitting people to carry concealed weapons. I believe these aren't new ideas. These are bad ideas, and they're wrong for New Jersey.
Folks, I have said as emphatically as I can that I support the laws we have. I don't support changing them. He's just going to continue to tell you different. It doesn't matter what I say. He's going to continue to lie to you because he thinks you'll buy it.
We could not find any students who plan to go to the town meeting or were even interested in the race.
You don't see signs. You don't see vote for whoever. People aren't really aware of that kind of stuff. I think more people are aware of what's going on in the nation right now.
As much as these candidates have been reaching out, one student says neither candidate approached her.
I'm used to, you know, the whole rock the vote, people trying to entreat like the 18 to 25 demographic to get out and vote. And it wasn't anything like that this summer. No one was, you know, really pushing it.
That was Al Ganoza reporting, and he is live on the campus tonight and will bring us a full report of the reaction to the town hall meeting at 10 o'clock.
We have another quick update for you. President Bush, as you may know, is in China. He's drumming up support there for the U.S. anti-terrorism fight. And Mr. Bush is attending the Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum. He'll be meeting with the 21-member group over the next several days, discussing continued U.S. attacks on Afghanistan. The president wants to rally the nations to stand together against terrorism.
And we get clear skies today. A gorgeous day today. Very nice. Temperatures 59 degrees, winds diminished. However, tonight a different story. Chilly, a frosty night. Temperatures in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, a cold start to your morning, and then we improve. Plenty of sunshine, a bit milder. Temperatures in the low 60s. But our national weather map shows you that, yes, indeed, we do have some rain starting to make its way.